If you're in a situation where you feel like you need to downsize quickly, sell off some assets, or simply just sell your home, then you've come to the right place. Over the next few minutes, we're going to meet John and Stan, the owners of Parks Auction, and they're going to teach us about some of the biggest myths surrounding auctions. Like, does it mean you're in distress? Is it too complicated? But most importantly, do you have to accept that bid on bid day and ultimately leave money on the table? Then we're going to meet some folks just like you who were skeptical just like you, but took the time to learn about auctions, give them a shot, and then have tremendous success. Thanks for joining us at AuctionTruth.com. I'm Shane Talent, former host on HGTV. Now let's get to it. This video is brought to you by AuctionTruth.com and presented by Parks Auction. We've all been to an auction or maybe had a friend that tried to buy a home at auction. But what word or thought comes to mind when you hear the word auction? Distress, short sale, bankruptcy? Well, all of these are myths. Over the next few minutes, you're going to hear from some people just like you that thought going to auction with their home meant they were showing distress or were going to be looked at as bankrupt. Maybe they were leaving money on the table because they had to accept that bid on bid day. Well, guess what? They were all wrong. And we're going to get to hear their stories. So let's go have a chat with John and Stan. All right, I'm joined by John Higgins and Stan Vault of Parks Auction. Stan, I'm going to start with you. What's the most exciting part about the auction process?
Sale day, and honestly for me is sitting down with that couple or individual that's ready to explore the option of auction. Sitting across from them at their kitchen table, trying to figure out their needs, that's exciting.
And John, what's your take on that? What's the best part of the auction process for you?
The best part is sale day, but we know all the work prior to sale day is what makes sale day fun and what makes sale day successful and work for us. But yes, I enjoy the people. This is a service. This is a people business, and yeah, I enjoy sale day.
Do you have any idea how much money you've raised at auctions over the course of your career?
Oh, I wouldn't have any idea. We do a lot of charity auctions all across the state and have raised a lot of money for that. Stan and I have been doing sales almost 30 years and several hundreds of those a year. I'd have to really think about that, but it'd be a large number.
So Stan, you've been doing this nearly 30 years. I imagine there's no question you haven't been asked or there's no experience that you haven't experienced.
Pretty much. I mean, not to sound like a know-it-all, I don't mean it that way, but we've come across almost every situation that people can find themselves in, downsizing, death, divorce, whatever it is, and we're able to guide those people through that process, through that transition.
Well, I can't imagine being in better hands on the left and right of me than the guys from Parks Auction.
This presentation is brought to you by your friends at Parks Auction Company. Call the number below right now or visit parksauction.com for more friendly information about auctioning your home or property. And remember, Parks Auction, they handle everything. Call 615-900-2978. or toll-free 1-888-711-3368.
Okay, well, we're here with Stan now, and Stan, I've got some questions for you about auctioning. How did you get into auctioning?
30 years ago, a good friend of mine, neighbor, had me help him with some auctions, country auctions, farm and equipment auctions, and it kind of started from there.
30 years later, does it still get you excited?
Oh, every day. I have a great passion for it. Love it every day.
One of the many myths that are out there is that if you're going to choose to auction off property, whether it's home or equipment or business, that it's because you're in distress. Is that always the case?
Not necessarily. One reason that is that away is, especially since we've gone through the downturn in the economy, a lot of people lost their house. Well, that was a foreclosure auction, and so auctions kind of get a negative connotation by that. But no, it's a very good way to liquidate, whether it's a small business, farms. We do a lot of farm liquidations, farmer retires, a lot of estate settlements. It's a good way to sell a lot of personal property and real estate in a short amount of time.
I would think that that distress signal is from my old school, my generation, and before. An auction was pretty much a distress. That is old school. That is no longer true whatsoever. Today, you're bringing At a public auction, you're bringing your best buyers together at one time.
The unique part about an auction in Middle Tennessee is they're an acceptable method of selling property. So we find property that brings at or above market value when it's sold at auction. You get everybody there that might be interested, especially those properties that are high demand and low supply. We often see them bring above market.
So after 30 years of being an auctioneer, I know you're still excited about it, but is the process exciting for the folks that are there?
Oh, sure it is, especially personal property sales. You know, everybody's always looking for a treasure. Real estate sales, everybody's always looking for the bargain. You know, so it always brings excitement for both buyers and sellers. And you say, well, how can that be for a seller if you're selling things at a bargain price? Value is in the eye of the beholder, just like beauty is. You know, what's one man's treasure is another man's junk. And so what we do is bring all the buyers and sellers together and make that happen, and it's a good transition for everybody.
We sold our personal home a few years ago, and we thought it would bring one price, and it brought over 20% more at auction.
One of the myths that you hear is that an auction always brings below market value, and I've found the almost the opposite of that. Is if I get multiple people at a sale that have an interest, then I would argue that selling at auction sets market value. When you've got a property that's hard to price, right? And I can go into most neighborhoods in this town and in the surrounding counties and tell you what a house should bring. But you get out on property, or you get a house that may need a little bit of work, or you get a house that's been updated more than the stuff around it, then bring everybody out there that's interested and let them bid against each other and actually set market with an auction.
You get in and you say, oh, well, is that all they're going to bid? Well, if that's all they're going to bid, I'm going to bid so-and-so. You know, it's like a fine piece of furniture or something. You say, well, if that's all it costs, I'm going to buy it.
I'm now with John Higgins from Parks Auctions. John, I have a couple questions about maybe some misconceptions about the auctioning process. First being, as a seller, is that seller required to take that final bid if it's not what he or she was hoping for?
Absolutely not. We sell a lot of property with reserve, which means the seller has the right to accept or reject that final bid. We understand people have worked hard for what they have, and we're certainly not there to give it away. So they have that level of protection on sale day that if it's a disaster or something really bad happens, they don't have to sell their property.
If it does not get what you want out of it, they'll no-sell it. So you won't lose any money if you put those restrictions on it. But if you say, it has to bring this much, and you tell your auction people that, then they know that, and they're not going to undersell that. And then if it doesn't bring what you want to, they'll no-sell it.
You have 100% control. At the end of the auction, you decide whether to take the price or just no-sell the piece of property, and you can always put it on the market later. All somebody to be out would basically be the cost of whatever putting on the auction itself. And each time we've had an auction, we've had that option. We thought, well, we'll auction first if the property doesn't sell, and then we'll be able to put it on the market. The house will get some free advertising, or whatever piece of property will get some free advertising, and then we will go from there. But we have yet to have a no sale in our experience in the auctions we've done. So we've been happy every time.
And another misconception I've heard, and I feel this way as well, is if I were going to auction off my home or my belongings, is that there's a lot of moving parts that I'm responsible for on the front end, and then you guys just show up with your gavel and start calling out bids.
There are a lot of moving parts, but that's our job. We take care of that. We take care of the attorneys, surveyors, minor repairs, whatever needs to happen to make that a successful sale. We take all that burden off the seller.
I've actually seen auctions be the simplest way for a seller to consider seller. We live in a busy society. We got kids to take care of and pets to take care of, and if I show my house and they're going to call me 30 minutes before they want to see it, and I've got to grab the kids and go, So what an auction does is we let everybody look about an hour before the sale, give them lots of good photos and information about the property, and then come an hour before the sale, preview the house, preview the land, walk the land before the sale. But really, it's one of the easiest ways to sell a piece of property.
Well, the guys at Parks Auction have done a couple of estate sales for either my family or close friends that we were helping, and each time, and those are the most labor intensive. You have to clean a house out and stuff, and they came in day before, day of sale, you know, set up tables, boxed everything, carried everything out. We didn't do a thing.
You have a staff that comes to your home. They tell you what to do. They walk you through it. And it's been my experience that what I thought I should get for my home, I got much more for it.
This presentation is brought to you by your friends at Parks Auction Company. Call the number below right now or visit parksauction.com for more friendly information about auctioning your home or property. And remember, Parks Auction, they handle everything. Call 615-900-2978 or toll free 1-888-711-3368.
Well, there you have it. I know I learned a lot today about the auctioning process, and I assume if you're still watching, you did as well. There's just a couple more steps, and there's no obligation to take those steps. Reach out to an auctioneer or log on to parksauction.com and find out more about this trend that is sweeping the nation. Parksauction.com or an auctioneer will give you all the answers you need to know to find out if auctioning is the right process for you.